We are at a village called Port Sunlight. And it is an 1800s village built by, we are told, the Lever brothers, who are now Unilever. And I've been wanting to come here for a while when I heard about this place, especially with it being built in the 1800s, so we are told, and by a corporation. So I'm not sure if any of you know about this, but our police used to have their buildings, their homes built for them and paid for, and I think they were called constabulary houses or something like that. And yeah, they would have those houses built for them, but round about in the 1970s, the police started selling off those houses, and they no longer had these houses provided for them. So they had difficulty getting the police recruited, because they didn't have those family homes and stuff. This is the Hillsborough Memorial Garden from the crush that they had in the stadium. Health and Wellbeing. Anyway, that was how they used to recruit police. They would provide them with homes. That's a nice village, huh? This is such a pretty village. So the police would be recruited because they were enticed with the homes and everything. And this village was built in the 1800s, we are told, by Unilever brothers for their workers at Port Sunlight, which is sort of in the Wirral, Merseyside way. And this is what they created. Now, some people will say no, this is far older than that. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I believe about that. Because here's the thing. They recruited people with this promise that they would be housed in villages, and it's not just Unilever. It would have enticed entire societies into the idea of corporatisation, don't you think? They would have said, oh look, this is amazing. Look, the corporations they're building all these wonderful homes for us. They're going to build villages for us. It's going to be amazing. We should do this for our families, for their future. Which is a nice idea, isn't it? So, could it be the case? I mean, look at all that brickwork, isn't it so amazing? And then you go to Barratt Homes or Red Row Home housing estates these days, and the houses are overpriced for what they are, and they're just plain boxes. I mean, this is... Look at even the large roads. Even the roads are large here. I tell you, I don't see roads this wide where I live. So, yeah, it's very pretty. And it's very enticing. And if you've got an 1800s corporation, or I think they were called Industrialists at that age, and I've got a book which I've read all about the Industrialists, and it's from about 1914 or something. And it's a very interesting book, which we can have a look at someday. But there must have been concerns about the Industrialists, and so they probably put a whole load of money into these elegant villages so that it enticed and encouraged people to support the idea of cooperative societies. So I'm not necessarily saying that I don't believe this was not built in the 1800s, but I think that there was a probable wicked reason behind it. Lovely flint building there. Makes me think of Norfolk, if you've ever been to Norfolk, with their pebble buildings. They're very cute. And there's the works behind it, which have been built into their, metal fabric. So this is where all the workers lived. And you see that a lot in the 1800s. There's a lot of houses, grand houses built for the workers, according to the narrative. And I don't think that in the 1800s they stopped building. In fact, I think they did build with elegance. But I don't think that they built those massive castles that we, Oh, well, maybe they did. I don't know. I'm undecided on that. And what I think that definitely happened was they built beautiful, stunning buildings like this with the intention to entice people into a grotty future society of greed, which we really do live in now. And we'll have a look. I mean, you can tell me what you think about this being a 1980s built. I don't know how long it took, probably a year. That's usually the 1980s narrative. Everything was built within a year. I don't know much about it. I'll leave a Wikipedia link to it. I just wanted to have a look at it because I knew that it was built by the Lever brothers. I'm actually popping by on some travels, so I thought I'd just stop by and have a look at this place, get an idea of it. And it's impressive, it's beautiful. I'm glad I've come here. Right, War Memorial. Well, we'll go there. That's where I was before I diverted towards the back of the Lever House is over here somewhere. We'll walk past it, so I'll probably go back there if I've got time. And yes, it is super pretty. Look at all those copper like hemming on the roof there. All gone blue. Oh, this is so pretty. And it's very peaceful, very quiet. So I think that these sorts of buildings, which were created for workers, such as those in Port Sunlight, I'm wondering if they were built in the 1800s, but they were a token gesture, just to say, look, in the future your children will live in beautiful villages just like this, because we're going to build more and more of them. And of course that never happened. It was a deceitful token gesture to get people on board with the corporation train, or the back then Industrialist train. I watched a documentary from around the 1960s, I think it was, and these people had been dumped, removed from their scrums. Their homes were called the scrums. They all shared bathrooms or a toilet between 20 of them, 20 houses or something like that. So the councils had said that they lived in the scrums and they were going to turn everything into a much better place for everyone. And so they built these high-rise flats, and everyone was living there, and one of the women said, yeah, it's amazing, we've got our own toilet, but I never knew that I'd be so lonely here. And that's one of the things, isn't it? There's like a disregard, a lack of care for human function in this society. I mean, this is beautiful, but this isn't what's being created in this day and age. It's all profit making. You know, you get your plastic straws delivered from China because it helps with the, you know, there's more money to be made from the costs of shipping, so you've got to get it from China now and all of that. So it's just money grabbing. Garden centre as well. I suppose this is a new one because look at the bricks. I was in a local garden centre the other day. This just reminded me. And a lady was trying to reverse out of the car park because she was ready to go home. And another lady stopped right in front of her and got out of her car. And the one who was trying to reverse out to leave, she said, "Excuse me, I'm trying to leave." And the other lady who blocked her, she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I'm just, I've just got some things to do. I won't be a minute." And she stopped there. She didn't even return to the car for a few minutes, while the other lady was, you know, inconvenienced. And now I think about it, that's what this society runs on the basis of, isn't it? Being inconvenienced, their convenience. And they really don't care if they inconvenience others, so long as they are feeling convenienced themselves. And what that tells me is that I'm not surprised that things went the way that they did. Over the last few years. It's really no surprise that people took things and did things that they normally wouldn't do out of convenience. And so you know, I think a lot of people are a bit careless, reckless, inconsiderate these days. And that's why we've got the society that we've got. I notice it particularly with car driving, because people, you know, they're in their cars out of convenience and they just want to park, dump their car anywhere where they can't find a spot to park. So they'll dump their car where it's convenient for them, regardless of it if it's convenient for others, and just explain themselves away. Well, you know, I won't be long. So it's very interesting in that perspective. Yeah, it's so pretty. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that so many people took injections out of convenience. Not now, you know. When I saw that woman, it was like an aha moment. Yeah. And the other woman who wanted to leave, she was like, oh yes, okay, that's fine. I'm not sure that I would have been quite so patient. And I have to say that, you know, the British were very much renowned for patience, like queuing. Look at that, that's so pretty with those bricks. Yeah, queuing. And I remember when the country started changing, we had more immigrants coming. Those immigrants didn't understand the idea and concept of queuing. I remember we were waiting for a bus as a kid with my dad, and someone pushed in, and they were immigrants, and my dad was fuming. He was saying, well, in this country we queue. And then people started getting ratty at him for mentioning that, as if it was rude and not to be spoken about. Look at this pond, this empty pond. They're all empty these days, aren't they? Look at the fountain. I don't know if you can see the fountain. It's so pretty but empty. All ponds are empty. You must have noticed that. Oh, it's like a mermaid or a merman. Huh. Yeah. And then there's this, which is a museum. I've got a antique dictionary, and I want to go through that with people because there's a part in the Bible, in Revelation 29, verse 9, and it says about how the camp of saints was compassed. That's in the King James version. And I think that that's a particularly interesting word, the word compassed, because I looked to check it up in the dictionary, and although it does say encircle today, in my 1914 dictionary, compassed means obtained. Now if we're talking about the camp of saints, or the city, beloved city, would that be Jerusalem? Because Jerusalem has been obtained now, hasn't it, by the Rothschilds. They obtained it through the Balfour declaration, something like that. So it's been obtained by Satan. And another thing that interests me, which I'll go into on another video after I've walked around Port Sunlight, is how it talks about the number of people being that of sand, and it's not necessarily talking about it's not necessarily talking about the army, but it could, if I'm right, apply to the number of people or souls here. And what I think, oh, look at those. They're cute. They are very sweet. Oh. It looks like a doll's house. That's why I'm saying, it's taking me back to my childhood. And look at that, you look out of those windows at this. Yeah, so I was thinking that there's mention of how many people are in existence during Satan's season. I'm not sure if there's any mention like that of numbers for the millennial kingdom, because what it could be is those who experience the millennial kingdom might now be feeling horrified by what they're seeing with the growing numbers of the population, especially if the millennial kingdom was rather limited in population. I mean, it does say that it's a narrow gate and few will get through, and that would suggest then that there were very few people. I do believe that the millennial kingdom has been and gone. Even if these houses were built in the 1800s, the techniques were bought and taught from the past, and you can see there's no patience for the brilliance that they provided back then. In today's society, that patience has gone, that care has gone, and so in the millennial kingdom they lived longer and perhaps had fewer children, and then to come into Satan's season must be quite frightening. And of course they have this obsession with eugenics. I think some of these may have been Manor Lodge. Some of these may have been later than the 1800s, perhaps. I don't know. Ugh, they've got the horrible LED lights. You can tell that they had nice old lamps. And then they've discarded them for the new LED. Oh, that's a shame. But some of these buildings do look sort of 1920s, like the grey building over there. Whatever it is that's happened, we've definitely progressively lost our freedoms. I'm from farming stock, and my family in Wales, there was a law that existed whereby if they built their home or the chimney for their home within 24 hours, then the land in that area was theirs, and that was their home, and they were free to build it. So that's how they obtained so much land. And then that's 1900s. This is a school. And then they ended up selling the land so that housing estates could be built on them, probably in the 70s, 80s, when the population really started to burst forward. Yeah. It is a very pretty place. It's very peaceful. The roads are wide, which I love. You don't get many wide roads in the UK. It's lovely here. Well, I suppose that's the end of this. There's a church. We'll have a look there. But we're long past this time when people cared, when even your bosses would build beautiful homes. Yeah. I feel a mixture of emotions, actually. I feel so fascinated by its beauty. I'm very depressed but it doesn't continue today. Yeah, all of the and maybe in that time frame, people were angry that they were sort of, I can't believe it, but maybe they'd say that people were feeling upset that they were confined to a village, because that might be what we would call today a 15-minute village. This could be a 15-minute village. It had a theatre, had the church, it had the shops. Is this a 15-minute village? 15-minute city? I would say that it was a 15-minute city. And if it is, if that's the case, would we reject this? Is it because we've seen the state of buildings today, especially the 60s and 70s buildings, that we would have no trust that they could get it like this? And even if they could get it like this, would it be enough? Would this be what we'd want? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think anyone does. But it's very pretty. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate that. And I'll talk a bit more about my thoughts on the passages of Revelation 20 in another video. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'd love to know what you think. Is this what you would consider a 15-minute city? And if it is, would it be acceptable? Thanks for watching. Bye.